Hi, I'm Toni chair of the Cook County Democratic Party, and this is The 80, our podcast about our party, its candidates, and its leaders. We're beginning the podcast by interviewing our elected Democratic committee people to discuss their backgrounds and thoughts about our history and the future of our party. Today, I'm excited to welcome Lori Wilcox from Bloom Township, the committee person from Bloom Township. Welcome.
Thank you, President Winkle.
Help us out. Not everybody knows where Bloom Township is.
So Bloom Township is about 30 miles south of Chicago. We are a township of 90,000 constituents. We have 12 towns and villages within Bloom Township, Chicago Heights being the largest. We have 30,000 constituents in Chicago Heights, which is 1/3 of Bloom Township. There's Flossmoor, the East Quarter, Flossmoor, Ford Heights, the entire Ford Heights, Glenwood, the majority of Glenwood, about half of Homewood, Lansing, the entire Linwood, a small portion of Olympia Fields, Park Forest, Sauk Village, the entire South Chicago Heights, and the north side of Stager.
All right.
12 communities in Bloom Township, 90,000 constituents, and not all the communities are covered in Bloom Township in their entirety.
Okay. All right. Now, you yourself have served as city clerk for Chicago Heights for a decade?
For a decade. This is my third term as the city clerk in Chicago Heights. I ran initially in 2011, second time 2015, and my third term was in 2019. I can elaborate on how I got involved in Chicago Heights.
How did you end up in local politics?
So I started out in the military at 17. I joined the Army Reserves at 17, and there were a group of us from the area that joined, but one of our friends was involved in politics outside of the military, and he just kept coming to us saying, you guys should run for office. And we're like, no, we'll just help you out in the second ward in Chicago Heights. And so after 3 acts, they say it takes 3 times to ask the person to run. By the third time, and numerous headaches, every time I sat down with him and his crew, I would end up with a migraine. I finally agreed. I finally agreed to run for city clerk. And this is how he convinced me. He said, Lori, well, you're a librarian by profession, so you don't have to talk as the city clerk. You are just going to take minutes at the meeting, and that's all. I'm like, oh, well, if I don't have to talk that much and I don't have to be a real politician, then I can handle it. So ended up running in a 3-person race, winning by a landslide. And here I am 10, 11 years later as the committee person and still holding the seat as the city clerk.
There you go. Now, so you're city clerk, and in your responsibilities other than taking notes at meetings?
Oh, no, Lord. It was a setup. I said he set me up. He dropped me off at City Hall and left me. We do more than just take notes. We do business licenses, animal licenses, you name it. We're the hub of the city. We're the clearinghouse of the city. We are the historians and the librarians of the city, the keeper of the records. If I don't find it, it's not legal.
There you go. Now, you decided to up your involvement in party politics by running for chair of the Bloom Township Democratic Party. How did you come to that decision?
How did I come to that decision? I would say in 2015, I joined, I was one of the fellows in Illinois Women's Institute for Leadership, and they trained 12 women throughout the state of Illinois to either get involved in politics by running for public office or being a catalyst to help others run for public office. After I finished that training, and I just got to meet a plethora of people throughout the state and the county and the township, and just started helping others out, just literally volunteering on others' campaigns. You'd thought I was like a strategist or something, but I found that this is something that I enjoy doing. And so when it was time for judges to run for public office and other countywide individuals, they would call Lori Wilcox in Chicago Heights. She'll help you out, or she'll connect you to everyone. And I didn't know I was acting in that role before I was in the role. And so over time, I just started to look at what could have been done better. I always run my races. I always speak on being a public official as what can be done differently or what can be done better, not what someone else is doing. And so 2018, I said, I'm running for committeeman. If I am going to be helping out on all these races, then I actually need to be involved in the selection process of these candidates.
Right. So it's a 4-year term. So you'll be up again in 22. And I presume you're going to be a candidate again.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Well, listen, we thank you for your service to the Democratic Party. Tell us what you hope for over the next cycle in Springfield and then from the national administration.
Well, we're actually digging ourselves up from 4 years of an interesting show. So
In Washington, yes.
4 years from an interesting show. So what I like to see happen, I know they say when you get involved, your first 4 years, you're kind of cleaning up and you're finding the skeletons and you're reprogramming individuals. So honestly, if he can just get us through, if our current administrations can get us through this pandemic and get more individuals involved in the political process, that would be a starting point. But right now, we really have to get through the pandemic and get our hands on what has not been done over the past 12 months.
It's been a tremendous challenge for local governments, and you and I both serve in local governments because there has been no national policy for vaccine production, vaccine distribution, and now I think the Biden administration, while they hope to come in with a kind of a playbook that they could modify and enhance, have discovered that they got to start from scratch. So all of us are challenged by the pandemic, but also by the economic collapse that's followed. How has Chicago Heights fared?
So when we look at locally our politics out here and how the pandemic has affected our community, has affected us and our community and our constituents, we have individuals worried about businesses closing, and not just those businesses closing, but those businesses are not going to come back. A lot of businesses are closing and not coming back, which means that we have job loss on top of the job loss, on top of the unemployment rate that we've already had in Chicago Heights. So not only have we lost businesses that aren't coming back, we had people that were already unemployed. Now we have more individuals that are unemployed. And then that leads to, how do we pay our bills? So we've been hit hard in the Southland. We were already kind of digging ourselves up. So we've been hit even harder out here.
The economic collapse has particularly impacted communities of color. And in the Southland, we have communities of color that were struggling prior to the pandemic. And as you say, as businesses close and unemployment rates skyrocket, it's a big challenge for local governments in terms of revenues to operate.
Correct.
All right. What do you hope for from the state? We've talked a little bit about the federal government. What do you hope to see from the state and over the next couple of years as we hopefully, as you say, climb out of the hole we're in?
Well, I would say the state is moving in the right direction. Our state reps and senators, we have a new representative. We have a new, Speaker of the House. So as we've started moving into the right direction. So hopefully they'll continue to do that.
Okay. Well, I'm very grateful. As many of our viewers and listeners know, Chris Welch is now the Speaker of the House and has put together a leadership team that is very diverse and reflective of our state and particularly our county. And we're grateful to him for that. We hope to have a good working relationship in Cook County with the new speaker, and I'm sure that he's going to be looking out for communities across the state like yours, right?
Yes, and just to piggyback off of putting together a diverse leadership team, Madam President, you've done a very effective job of putting together a diverse leadership team for the Democratic Party of Cook County, and so everyone is on the same page finally. Hopefully, again, like you said, we can all work together to bring all of those entities and intergovernmental relationships.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the encouragement, and I know that it's tough to be a local elected official, so I wish you well as clerk, and thank you for your service to the Democratic Party as committee person for Bloom Township.
Thank you for having me.